Hi, and welcome to Coding with Jesse. So I just set up this test, which is failing because I haven't written any code. So what I want to do next is create these functions, drop table, create table, and add, that let me create the table that'll keep all the posts for this website, and then also drop the table and add posts. So here's my post file. I'm actually going to write some code. So let's do exports.create table. It's going to be a function. And so is exports.drop table, which probably won't get used too much. And actually, it'll be used so little, I don't even want it part of the code base because that seems kind of dangerous. So let's only do it in the database itself. So before each database dot query drop table posts. I guess the downside of doing this is then my test has to know what the name of the table is. So I changed my mind. I'm going to go back to having a drop table, even though it'll never get called by my code. I think it belongs here. So I'm going to return that. The reason I'm returning it is it's a promise. So then, actually, that's a good point. My test needs to wait on that to happen. Wait on the dropping before I can create the table. And how does before each actually, I guess I can return a promise from before each, and that'll make sure that'll like be asynchronous, I assume. We'll find out. So my create table, I need to return the create table from inside the then, so that it's a chain of promises. So it waits on the dropping of the table, then waits on the creating of the table before it does the rest of the stuff. I guess that makes sense. So what else? Oh, I don't have a database in here. So how do I pass the database? How does this get access to the database? Well, I'm going to just require it from the same folder. So as I said in my previous video, my database here is going to be a singleton. So how it works is that it gets initialized by somewhere else. It's getting initialized in the test in this case. So yeah, so that's how. So then it should be able to just require it in and then have access to it. So create table. I need to do create table. So I'm going to try using a new syntax for strings. These are called template strings. So by using a backtick, this won't work in browsers really yet, not all of them. But it lets you do multiple lines. So I'm going to try it out here. I don't know if it works in Node. So to do a create table, I'm going to do create table posts. And I think I can do, I don't have this memorized that well. So id int not null auto increment. I think it's like that. And then I also want to have a title. Let's do varchar 255. Not null. Then I also want to have a body text, not null. Then I want to have a slug, which will be a varchar, not null. And that's basically it. So I need to have a primary key. Is it comma primary key? I'll find out. Primary key ID. And I also want to index the slug, because when you come with a URL, the slug is what's going to be used to find the post that relates to that URL. So let's see if any of my tests work. Did a lot of stuff, so it's probably going to fail. What's working, what's not. So unknown table, test coding with Jesse.post. Oh, because of the drop table, maybe I need to do if exists. Can you do that? I'm going to Google that quick. MySQL drop table if exists. So yeah, I think drop table if exists. Yeah, I'm allowed to do that. So let's try that. And go up. So now it says my create table syntax is wrong. So again, let's just create table MySQL. Probably missed a parenthesis or something. Here, check the syntax. So yeah, I need parentheses around the create definition. So let's just see an example. Scroll down. Create table. No, I don't want to do a select. They're not really good at examples on this page. I just need the simplest. Yeah, okay. And then I need to specify the engine. So I will just pick one at random because I always forget which one's better than what. So I'll just let it use the default InnoDB. That's fine. But I do need parentheses, so I'll put those there. And there. And run the test again, and it's hanging. So, oh, I need to return, I remember. In my test, I need to return the expect. So that test is still going to fail, but I haven't created the add function. So post.add is not a function. That's right. So let's just do that as the final thing. I'll make the add function. Exports.add. Seems like it would be a lot of work, but it should be as simple as this. So I'm going to take in the params, let's call them. And I'm going to do insert into posts, set question mark, and pass in the params. That seems like a bit of magic, and it is. So with Node MySQL, you can, params is an object, so wherever the question mark is, it's going to pass it in as the, key equals value for each of them. So that's all you actually have to do for an insert. So let's try that out. Fails. So it expected field count affected rows to equal 1. That's right. So I want to actually just return not affected rows, but insert ID, which they didn't mention there. So I'm not just going to return query. I'm going to return then, and I'll get my result. And then I'll return result.insert ID. So I could expose the whole result, but I can't imagine a situation where I want anything except the insert ID or an error. So I'm just going to have my add thing return the ID. And it works. So you'll notice this is kind of slow because I'm actually hitting the database. 87 milliseconds is a bit slow. But on the other hand, I don't know a better way to test this code without actually hitting a database. So there are some mock options. I could have like a fake mock database, but I'm just not convinced that that's the way to go. So for now, I'm just going to have a slow test that actually hit the database, and maybe I'll look into another option. All right, so in my next video, I'm going to add some more functionality for removing, deleting, in other words, updating, and getting or selecting posts from the database. So thanks for watching.